The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. It's Eric Roth from 10-Minute Trades, and welcome to today's presentation, podcast, webinar. Lee, what podcast episode is this?
What are we, 25 now? I don't even know. I didn't look.
I think it might
26
be,
maybe. 26.
I think it, yeah, so this is podcast 25, 26%. Hey, guys, it's Eric here. I'm going to actually show my face in a second, but I just wanted to first welcome everyone. I know we have, again, another intimate crowd here on a Friday afternoon. And if you would be so kind, just want to make sure on YouTube as well as on our GoToWebinar, if you guys can hear me and see my screen, just give me some feedback in the question or chat box. I would greatly appreciate it. And Lee, you let me know how we're doing on both those
We're
streams.
good. We look good.
Okay, well, here I am. I'm Eric Roth, and hopefully you could see my screen. Actually, I'm not sure that you can. Hold on a second.
Yes, I can.
You saw it for a second? Okay,
Yeah,
then
I
switch
see it.
back.
I have that same
Yeah.
shirt.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's inside joke.
You can tell them.
Uh,
Everybody knows everything about me, Eric.
Well, I don't know what to say. All I could say is that, look, it's 2022, and as you've seen, we've done a lot more productions, and I don't know. I just gifted Lee some shirts because I not wanted us to kind of look sharp
good.
together.
You wanted us to look
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So listen, let me get right to today's topic, right? And again, I want to thank everyone for being here. I say it. I always say this, but I really do feel like we are doing a lot more of these type of podcasts, if you will. I know if it's not me, Lee's doing a whole bunch every weekend. But today's topic is markets are crashing. And this is not a doom and gloom. This is not like that's not the point of today's episode. I just felt that last Friday, it was Friday the 13th, and we did a Q2 halftime report where we basically, for the first half of the year, I should say, right, halftime report of how the market's been performing. And I thought it would be good to do a closer dive, and let's dive in and take a look at some of the markets and see over the past 6 months how the Dow Jones has been doing, NASDAQ, crypto, and I want to talk about that and have a conversation with Lee, who's with us live today as well, our Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. And I think it's going to be an awesome conversation, again, unscripted. I'm going to share with you guys a lot of thoughts that I have about the current situation. And, of course, I have to do the quick risk disclosure. Today, again, it's educational purposes. I'm sharing my opinion and my thoughts about the markets. Lee and I are not financial advisors by all means, but we've been trading for quite a bit. No buts to that, but we have thoughts on the matter, right? So we're going to share with you our personal opinions on things, but we're not financial advisors. So let's do a closer look into the markets. And while I do that, Lee, I'm not sure if you're sharing your webcam. Hopefully folks can see you. Let me take a look over here. Okay. Hey, Lee.
What's up?
Actually, I have you on the big screen right over here, so people could see you, but I don't know if they could see me.
Yes, I can see you, and I should be above your screens. That's how people.
Okay.
Are you folks out there? Are you seeing me and our screens? Because we haven't done it quite this way before. I think you should see me, Eric, and some screens. Let us know, because we just want to make sure you see us. Good. We're good.
Okay, perfect. Well, look, the stuff that I'm going to go over right now, okay, it's like stuff that everyone is aware of, but I think it's really worth, again, we're at a milestone right now. We're approaching Memorial Weekend coming up next weekend here in the United States, and the first half of the year of 2022, can you believe it? It's already gone just like that. So this year is definitely flying by. And the first, one of the websites I like to use a lot, and one of the things that, Lee has his list of resources, Forex Factory, etc. I've had a habit over the past decade of Market Watch. That's one of the websites I like, Lee. Do you look into Market Watch at all?
Yes, definitely. In fact, when we first started doing earnings, they were one of the good sites to look at. They still, have a lot of earnings info.
Yeah. In fact, the only thing that's a little frustrating with Market Watch, which I believe is owned by the Wall Street Journal, is that they, like a lot of other publications, have started to limit, how many articles you could read, and they really want you to get a subscription. It's super cheap, but I think what I use it for is what I really like is, you see right here on the homepage, it has a really nice charts of the U.S. markets, Europe, Asia, Forex. So let me dive in a little bit. I think this will be, again, for those of you that have been paying attention to the different markets, probably you may know this already, but let's take a deeper dive into the last 6 months starting off with the Dow Jones. And I don't care about the 37,000, 30. What I want to focus on is the percentage increase and decrease, right? So you can see, and I'll make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so the Dow Jones, and this is the last 6 months, going all the way back from December 21. You could see here that right now on May 20th, where the Dow Jones is close to minus 13%, which it's a lot, right? That's a huge, I remember last year listening to people talking about a setback or a little recession, and they talk about 10, 20%, right? So this is just the Dow Jones. Now let's take a look at the NASDAQ, okay? So this is the NASDAQ. If we take a look at the 6 months, okay? Quite scary, actually. Look at that. Minus 30% over the last 6 months in the NASDAQ, right? So interesting. Again, I'm not really a big stock trader, but interesting to kind of compare the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones and seeing how you might assume that they're like going to be both around the same percentage drop, but you could see that they're not. Actually, the NASDAQ is doing quite worse in terms of performance. Okay, and then why not? Actually, I didn't take a look at this. I'll take a look at now, the S&P. So this is kind of just giving the backdrop of where we are. S&P is down in the last 6 months, kind of like what I was originally assuming, closer to the Dow Jones. It's around minus 18%. So let me pause right there. Lee, this is not a surprise to you, but kind of
No.
I'll let you weigh in here about this. I mean, you're every single day you're in our trade room. For those that are with us right now, oh, by the way, thanks for appreciating my my backdrop. This is just like my podcast theme. That's pretty funny. Yeah. So what's your general sentiment about just kind of the percentage drop in each of these markets?
Well, there's no question it's very concerning, especially for people, pension funds and people that have IRAs and everybody that's got money in the market. And a lot of people are captive in the market. They have money they can't take out because their company does it for them. So this is very damaging. It's not a good thing. And then you look at the
Absolutely.
NASDAQ, and it's a tech wreck because the NASDAQ traditionally is overvalued. Those tech stocks are overvalued, so they tend to drop the most, and then they tend to come back the most also. So,
Yes.
but the
No, that,
scary thing is no one knows where the bottom is at this point. We haven't seen that kind of insane selling that often marks a bottom. So it's a little bit scary, and everyone wants to blame the politicians. And in this case, I don't think it's a politician blame. I think it's the war in Ukraine is the worst offender in creating uncertainty in the market. So that to me is the greatest problem that's
well,
facing us right now.
well, without getting to politics, et cetera, I think, first of all, good analysis, because I think you made the great point about why is the NASDAQ performing much worse. And you're right. A lot of those big tech stocks really got hit hard on a lot of the earnings, which funny enough, we made money on. So you're right. That's a good reason for why you see even poor performance. But the big macro without view here, yeah, certainly the war in Ukraine has made the world even more complicated when it comes to investing and the macro, the stability, right? But in the last couple of years, there's definitely been a lot of printing of money. So, that's definitely a huge factor, right? Which, again, people here with me right now, nothing new. So there's definitely a lot of inflation going on, a lot of money that was printed. Whether that money was put to good use or not, the bottom line is that there was a lot of money that was put into our system And right now, people know this high level. With printing money causes inflation, but now we're in 2022, and we're kind of seeing the ripple effects, and they're quite severe. And I think the point that you made is also an important one, because people who are not trading every day, like yourself and myself, and when I went to school for accounting. Most people, this is very detrimental, because what they do is they trade their time for money. They have a yearly salary, most people, and then they put their money into a 401k. And what I just shared with everybody, the minus 13, minus 18, minus 30%. You have people in all walks of life, people who are lucky enough to be in their early part of the career. Maybe this doesn't scare them too much, but you have a lot of folks where they built up a nice nest egg in their 401k, and now they're thinking about retiring. And this is the disaster scenario, which we saw in 2020 as well, when COVID first came out. So yes, you made a good point on why NASDAQ is performing worse, and how this really does affect hard working people. Let me just get to one other market that I want to share with you, which, funny enough, in the last crypto, right? I think the story with crypto is that whenever you see Bitcoin going to like $60,000, it blows up, and you hear a lot about crypto. But in the last 6 months, crypto has also taken a huge hit. And if I go to the 6 months, crypto, which has a lot of folks were talking about this being kind of like a digital safe haven, like gold, you could see that it's even performing worse. I'm talking about Bitcoin specifically, right? So Bitcoin is down from its peak about 51%. So I think, let's take a look. It was trading at $60,000, and now it's around a little less than $30,000. So across the board, I just want to do a deeper dive. We saw a lot of the big, the DASDAQ, SB, we saw that down. But then you see crypto, Bitcoin was down 50%. And then let me just take a look at gold. I just want to see gold real quick. So gold. Okay, so interesting. So gold, which hasn't moved. Actually, no, this is one day. Sorry, let me just take a look. So you could see that gold, it's kind of been very close. It hasn't been moving at all in the last 6 months. It went up like about 6%, but it's still in the last 6 months. It's still around break even. And I just want to see for gold the 3-year view in 3 years. Right. Oh yeah, well this is going back to 2019 when gold was at 1216. So interesting to kind of see these different playouts on the market. Okay, so where was I going with all of this, right? Where I was going with this in particular is just kind of, where do we stand as a company at 10-minute trades, right? We just looked into a lot of the big markets, and I want to share with you guys how our system can help. And, it's kind of, the title was 10-minute trades to the rescue. I want to share with you, Lee, kind of my personal journey, kind of when I started trading, right? So when I started trading, this was in 2012, and we had just came out of the global financial crisis in 2010. And I mentioned earlier, I just started I started working in accounting, and I started trading. And what's interesting is that what we do here at 10-minute trades, we capitalize on market moving events. And what's interesting about this current market is that the volatility is huge, right? And one of the things that makes us successful in what we do, Lee, right, is being able to, we like having volatility, right? So we want to be able to have news events that are causing price action to move the markets one way or another. And so my quick backdrop is that when I started off in this journey, just like we're seeing now, that huge decrease in the markets, one of the things that I'm hopeful about is the fact that when big reports are coming out, like the jobs report, et cetera, we could definitely see um, a new kind of hopefully an easier kind of reaction to the market where we're able to see huge price movements on each of these events and being able to capitalize on them. So said another way, right now with the markets reacting the way they are, each of the market movers that we trade day in and day out, there could be a lot more attention, and we could hopefully see healthier movement in price action. So with that, let me ask you, Lee, have you noticed any difference at all in terms of price action and kind of the trades that you've done this week?
Yeah, I would say it's been obviously it's more than a week that I'll start to notice. In other words, a week's not long enough to
Of
notice.
course, yeah.
Obviously, what we do, but what I am definitely starting to see. Always what happens, it's the same thing that happens all the time when a disaster occurs, like a pandemic or a war or the world, something horrible happens. The trading that we do changes dramatically. And the reports, the small ones stop working to a certain degree, and we have to pivot a little bit. So over time, what we've learned to do is pivot so that we don't just have one type of way to trade. That's probably the biggest thing that I know you want to talk about in a few minutes, but we're not just doing
Sure.
breakouts like we used to. What I'm noticing,
Yeah.
to answer the question specifically, though, I definitely have begun noticing lately that even now some smaller reports are starting to work again. In other words, the initial hit and shock of Ukraine is wearing off a little bit in terms of regular news reports, and they're starting to move. But everything has changed. News is later. It's not always exactly to the second like it used to be, but there does seem to be order to the way the events are taking place, and they are becoming, I think, more tradable. And it's funny, I lost money on a trade this week that tells me I'm right because I was looking for an alternative setup rather than using our regular setup, which actually was the better setup. So I know that gold is starting to trade better. And, I'm going to show some trades in a little bit, the Australia trades. You have to know what to do. For us, the thing we pride ourselves on is we try to help people discern what are the best reports to trade. So in this kind of market, we know inflationary reports are going to give us a probability. What do we always say? Give us the report to trade that has the best probability of a profit. So that's our goal always, besides all the new things we're doing. So short answer, I know I've been yapping like a lunatic. Yes, the market is getting more tradable using breakouts, and we now have pivoted to lots of other ways that we trade as well. So that's a
Sure.
long answer to a
Yeah.
short question.
Sure. No, sure. And by the way, I know like the beginning of this presentation is kind of the backdrop of the markets. And right now, by the way, I'm just sharing our title slide. And kind of, it's so we kind of just went into a deeper dive, and then I asked Lee quickly, are the markets reacting a little bit better for what we're doing? So what I want to do now is I kind of want to, again, remember, I'm not a financial advisor, but here are some thoughts I'm having about how I'm personally like reacting to all this and why I really love what we do at 10-minute trades. So first of all, as I mentioned before, right? A lot. If you're working in this country, a lot of folks that's built into how they earn an income is they put money in their 401k, right? So the challenge is, right? And even if you have other investments like Lee was talking about, this is where again, not to say like not that we're happy about the situation, right? Because I also have investments in the market, et cetera, long-term investments, right? But this is where we thrive, and kind of the beauty behind 10-minute trades is that we don't need to go to bed and worry about this exact kind of market reaction, right? Because we're in the markets, we're out of the markets, and our money is kind of in cash, right? Because our trading accounts, right, when we're in and out, they're kind of just into our trading account. They're not doing anything. They're sitting in cash. And so I personally have stopped in the last 6 months. I actually stopped putting more money into my various investment accounts, right? And I actually, as Lee knows, we're in the process of upping up our trading accounts here at 10-Minute Trades. So right now we have 2 trading accounts, and I'm in the process of actually, I think Lee, the one that you have is around $20,000 to $25,000. I'm going to re-up that to around $30,000. And then another trading account I'm also opening up. So I'm getting myself in a position where I want to actually have a bigger account for both of our trading accounts. And so just letting people know, like personally, I'm not right now, not pushing anyone to go into cash, et cetera, but I've stopped in the last couple of months. I stopped putting money as I do like an ongoing basis into various investments. And so that's one thing that I've done from the get-go. And, so let's talk about, Lee, how how we've evolved with our one of the things we talked about last week is our software, right? Do we want to give folks an update about our JV version 10 software and where we are right now?
Yeah, so I mean, we've talked about it up quite a bit in the room. So there are some people here that aren't room members. So we have a version 10 coming out, and it literally the programmer has it. So what's going to happen now is I'm just waiting for him to send me the first beta test of it, and as quickly as we test it and go through it, that's how quickly it'll be released. So expecting within 7 days that I'll have that first version of what he's working on, and then we can start to test it. I'll start to use it in the trade room, and I'll even probably trade live with it a little bit. But a lot of new features. We're going to have a magnet trade setup, which is something we talk about in the trade room all the time. A lot of different an earnings setup that we're calling it. Just trying to make the software safer and simpler to use. And just it's version 10. We've been upgrading. It's been like my main focus here. Other than the trade room, one of the biggest things I feel like I've accomplished is turning our software into a real piece of software. It's always been, I always thought it was a great product, and it was always unique. But I really feel proud that I've turned it with help from people in the trade room. Everything was not my idea. We took a lot of ideas from you all and implemented into the software. And I'm just really happy with the way it's been working out over these years, all the new features. Adjust buttons, being able to help us with earnings trades. And, that particular adjust button was someone else's idea. In fact, he's in the room right now. Mark, it was his idea.
Oh, awesome.
You have to be smart enough to be able to be open enough to not think that you know everything and to take the good stuff from all the people that are willing to share, because we always say it, we are in a community, and if you use the whole idea of a community is everybody chips in, and especially in difficult times, when everybody chips in, it helps to make everybody successful. So that's what
Yes,
I
yes.
see as the greatest beauty of the software. It's been a group project in a way. So I can't take, credit for it. I just told the programmer to do a lot of good stuff. So that should be
Sure.
out,
And
I think, 2 to 3 weeks. We should have a pretty solid working version.
yeah, and I know we have a tight group today. And by the way, guys, today's presentation is unscripted. Lee and I are really just having a conversation about where we see us in us as a community, 10-minute trades. How, with what we saw in the markets the first half of the year, how are we going to make sure that we're going to stay on top of really what's looking to be tough times, a downtrending market, right? And so with the software update, as Lee mentioned, really instead of putting the focus on worrying about the release to the world, what we want to focus on is making sure that our software is that it's up to the quality that we want it to be. And so what we're going to do is before we release it out to the public, once we get our software update, as Lee mentioned, in just a few weeks here, we're actually going to release it to our members first. Okay, so hopefully right after Memorial Weekend or that week, we'll as soon as we have the update, for those of you who are already a software license holder, we're going to go ahead and share the beta version with you. And our goal, I would say, Lee, I would say in June, is as we do the beta test with everyone and make sure that they're everything is clean, that we'll look towards maybe end of the month of July, whatever, however long it takes. But, usually with our programmer and our track record, we usually usually don't have any issues at all. So, very minor things maybe come up, we'll address them, but that's kind of the story. So that's exciting, and do you want to just refresh everyone again, those of you who don't have the software, like tell people like just kind of the bullets I have here. You want to just talk a little bit about remind folks what's coming with the software?
Yes, so magnet trade is we have a trade where we're trading highs and lows that we have seen happening all the time in the room. So I'm doing something kind of clever with that, and I'm not even going to say what I'm doing yet with it. It'll be a surprise, but we're going to be trading highs and lows. Trap trace is very similar to the way we're doing our squeeze play, and this was not my idea, this one in particular, but it was a great idea. Instead of buying at the top of a range, we're going to buy at the pullback of a range. So it's going to be in addition to our trap trade strategy, which is a pullback reversal style trade, and then we're adding more safety to the system. So if you make a mistake, the software will warn you, and of course you better turn it on and off. Relabeling the inputs just so it's less confusing. We're gonna the break even button is going to be programmable. So you could do break even plus or minus if you want to. And then there's a new adjust button, which especially for earnings will be great. It will help to adjust the orders that we're moving around on the charts. And in fact, we're doing that with the bond trades now, and their breakout trades, API, we're thinking about it. And then I asked the programmer just to go through all the code, because we've been working on this for so many years, just to go through and clean it up, because I figured there's some things he can get rid of that we don't ever use, and just make the code better, faster, safer, more streamlined. So he's going to do that as well. So there's some things I'm forgetting also, I'm sure. And then of course, you've seen all this in our webinars. The software just really helps you, especially because it's semi-automated on the breakout trades, semi-automated on any trade, because all you have to do is click a button, and then sometimes you still won't get entered until your criteria are met. So there's just a lot of features that help you to overcome all of the normal trading psychological problems that people have. And our software helps to reduce that. So it's a
Awesome.
big feature. It's a big upgrade, this one. It wound up being much bigger than I thought.
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, I want to, so thanks for behind the scenes. I would say Lee, not only has he been instrumental with our trade room, which I want to talk about, but he's also a big kudos goes to him because he's actually evolved our software. Now, look, a lot of the people I see in the room here are regulars, but we also have folks watching us on YouTube. And I just don't know if I told the story well about, not to get into like the whole, like, okay, ABCs of what we do, but I really want to make the point clear, a little bit more clear about, our system, our methodology, right? In the last 10 years, we're actually celebrating our 10-year anniversary. We figure out a system that works in any market. And that's, I think, something that I really wanted to bring out earlier, that right now with what's going on, the market's going down, whole butt. It's not that, I want all the markets to succeed. But in terms of our trading methodology, we're agnostic. We don't really, it doesn't matter to us that the markets are trending upwards or downwards. One of the things that really matters to us is that there's volatility, healthy volatility, right? We don't want, even though we do like having volatile markets, there are times, for example, Lee, when you're trading the energy reports and different crude oil, natural gas, where we don't like too much volatility because it's a little bit scary, intimidating, and we don't want to put ourselves in a more risky situation. But the big picture that I'm trying to say is that we're as a company, we've been very successful with our trading methodology. And our methodology in high level, okay, is based upon taking advantage of the big news events that come out every single day. And we have a system in place where we're able to capitalize when these daily market moving reports come out. I think next week the big one is the FOMC. What was one of the big ones this week? I think it was
Yeah,
retail.
FOMC meeting minutes. This week we had retail was big. It
Right,
was a weird week this week. It was a lot of little stuff really.
right.
Retail, existing
Come,
homes came out.
yeah, yeah. So my main message though is that if you're, uh, if you're doing this trading already, great. And, it just maybe this is a time to think about taking what we do here, not more seriously, but think about it more of as a business. And, instead of being on the sidelines watching the markets trend downwards, and, we have a system where we could try to capitalize on the market volatility. And like I said before, that's what I've done in the last couple of months. Stopped putting my contributions into various investment accounts and looking to build up my various trading accounts here, and being smart about bankroll management. Now, I always hit on one of the big things about our company, which is the trading the breakouts, if you will, the daily market moving events. But Lee, you've evolved it so now in our trade room, it's not just doing the typical breakouts, right? We also have the market opens, the earning trades. You want to talk a little bit about that, and kind of maybe even I'll let you screen share if you want to show some trades. Tell us about like how else have you pivoted in taking advantage of the current market with the market opens, it set earnings. If you want to show people kind of um, any trades that you've done recently.
Okay, so I'm going to show my screen. Give me 1 second, folks. So it's been very, very interesting. And what I'm noticing, the biggest thing that I see is people are really afraid because I'm always saying in the room, who's trading with me? And people aren't trading. And I know, I'm sure it's because of fear. And you got to understand, I have fear also. I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose our company's money. So I have just as much fear trading. It might even be harder to trade someone else's money. Um, so the thing to realize is a lot of the trades, if you know which ones to take. And this week was a really interesting week. I knew we have a report, just looking at one report that I knew was going to win, the Australia Wage Price Index. People are bugging me all the time. Why don't you have more late night trades? And yet nobody came to the room. And I was shocked, and I said it over and over. Where is everybody? Everybody's at the opening morning trades. And then, I tried to explain that this is and I said it in the weekly video report about the upcoming week, that this is an inflationary report. And let me just show you what happened. You should be seeing my charts. I'm sure you can. And the price exploded, hit both my targets. I was actually getting ready to even make my target bigger when it hit my target. So that was Australia trade number one this week, and that was what's called wage price index. So what I would
Nice.
say is this: if you ever hear me say that this is an inflationary report that has a good opportunity for profit, you should get into the trade room and trade it with one contract if you're afraid. We have methods that will really help you trade with one contract that are really good at trying to get as much profit as possible. So that
Oh,
report
that's
worked
awesome.
well. And then just going back to your whole thinking about people, I'm sure are saying, oh, you know what, you're putting more money into your trading account because you guys have been losing money all the time. And it's not true because one of the main reasons I've been after Eric to put more money in our trading account is because, especially in these kinds of times, what's been trading really well that we've noticed? Oil storage report, the natural gas storage report. And in order to trade those reports properly, because they are riskier, and I can understand being afraid to trade those reports, you should have a bigger trading account. And I'm going to just turn off my webcam for a second and let me show you the natural gas trade that we took this week. Natural gas natural gas used to be the scariest trade that you could take. But it's literally, if you look at the DMM, which shows up immediately in this video, The DMM is our daily trade report. You've got 4 out of 6 winners. Look at the size of those winners. 100 ticks, 192 ticks, 185 ticks. So we've updated our DMM. The report's been updated. And since we updated, I think our success rate has been over 75%. We updated this DMM about 2.5 months ago, and I can barely think about how many losers we had. There's been so few. And natural gas has been controlled. Yes, you can have a report that'll really bite your account, but when you have 8 winners out of 11, it's keeping you in a profit, even when you have that bad trade. So when you have targets that might be 30 to 50 ticks, we're seeing that on our at NASDAQ trades, the range trades. So we're not upping our account because we're not making money, but we need a substantial amount of money, which we never had in our trading account, to trade some of the bigger reports the right way, so that we can show you the right safety and the right amounts you should have when you trade these types of reports. And that's part of, why we do what we do. And regardless, I'll tell you one really important thing. I never was a professional trader. I never swore that I would be the best trader in the room. And everybody that knows me, we know that's true. I'm an okay trader, but I'm a really good teacher. And the great thing that I always see in the room is people making way more money than me. And to me, that is the most successful thing I could do, because it says that our ideas that we are giving to people as part of their subscription are helping them to make money. And that can't, my being impatient will always get in the way of me being a perfect trader. But if you're not impatient, you're going to trade and the same reports and make more money than me. So that's a very important thing to realize, that we never swore that I was the best trader in the world. It was more, how could I be the best teacher in the world and at least have the guts to trade live and show you the truth about what happens in these trades, so you could decide how do you want to handle all of this. So I just think that's important. But again, the oil reports, I wanted to show you this gas report because it showed everything that's good and difficult about trading. It should have blown through my targets. The news came out, it was a build in price, and instead of blowing through my targets, it became a very difficult trade to manage. It went down, gave me a profit, then it looked like it was going to stop me out, and I moved my targets into profit, and then it hit, small targets, giving us, 100 and something dollars a profit. Um, Natural gas, oil, it could have gone straight down and easily have been a $300, $400 profit as well. That's why you want to trade it, because it's been giving us the opportunities. But you don't want to trade it with a $5,000 account because it's not safe. You can lose
And Lee,
too much. Go ahead.
if I can interject here, no, you hit on a lot of good points, and I just want to keep the conversation going because it's always good because even though this is more of a podcast and webinar, it's always great to see trades. And a couple of points you made there. We like to do things here not just on a whim. We want to do things the way that our community thinks. So back to the trading account thing, I think you hit on it, but we originally, earlier this year or last year when we made our accounts, the feedback from a lot of our members was to start off doing smaller, medium accounts and seeing them grow. And I actually, honestly, I wanted to, I'm kind of a risk taker, to be honest, right? My story took a $2,000 account, turned into 20K, and I share that, but a lot of our community said, you know what, do a smaller, medium account, and of course I wanted to be able to take that account and blow it up exponentially too. But as Lee is explaining, not to make excuses, we do a lot of testing on the account too, and that doesn't, it's not just the trades that we're doing live. We're also doing a lot of testing, et cetera. So, and on top of that, Lee doesn't claim to be the absolute best trader, and neither do I, right? And I like to say that our original founder Jay, definitely. I mean, to me, he's behind the scenes with the reports that he does, and Lee and Chantal. We definitely have a lot of experts in doing research, etc. But you want to know something? I'll tell you something very honestly. My experience in learning trading futures is that a lot of times the traders who are the best have no personalities at all, and it's very hard listening to them. And with Lee, he is a great educator, and he is somebody that I think is really easy to listen to. And even though he makes mistakes, and so do I make mistakes, he's still able to teach people, and members continue to perform better than us sometimes in the trade room. So really, it just hits on a couple of things, but one of them is the transparency. So getting back to this natural gas trade, I saw you take this live the other day, and it's easy to critique, etc. But that was a good trade. That was a good example where you're not a fortune teller. You're in the trade, and anybody could, if you want to rewind a little bit. So think about this. Let me just do a quick replay here, commentary here. So here it is. It's going out. It breaks out. Now watch. It breaks out. Right now, what do? Right? You're in the profit right there. Um, it was hard. I mean, pause it for a second. I'll be honest. One of the things that I usually do is I'm pretty fast in getting out. That's difficult. It's not so easy. I mean, there were a couple $100 on the table, but okay, wasn't able to get out. Now play the video a little bit more. Now, what do you do now? So I know that Lee, in the video, you're trying to get out, move your limit up, and protect yourself, and it's still difficult, right? And because you don't know you don't know where it's going to go. So overall, it's hard to play the Monday. What's the expression? Monday morning
Quarterback.
quarterback.
Yep.
But, yeah, but you did well. You're going to have times like that where it's like, shoot, I should have just gave it a couple of seconds. But anyways, did you want to say something about this trade?
No, yeah, you know what? I wanted to critique it too, again, because it's always great to critique a trade that you would have, should have, whatever. If you think about it, and again, no excuses. Think about how fast this all took place. This is real time. So I'm going to leave it on. What was going through my head is, oh my God, it's going to reverse now and stop me out. When it did that first, this is a behavior that we see in so many trades, news trades, and I'll stop it when it gets to it. Right here, it fills and then it reversed back. I'd say about 40% of the time when a trade does that, it stops you out. It doesn't keep going back the way of the trade. In other words, here, look how close it got to my target then also, but I wasn't thinking about getting out. I was not thinking about getting out. I was still surprised that it was behaving the way it was behaving. I was more surprised. So I wasn't thinking of getting out. I was only thinking of protecting and then seeing what happened because I didn't even get a chance. I really didn't get a chance to do anything other than move my stop slightly. The only opportunity anyone could have had in this trade to make it a better trade as it was, there were two things you could have done. Not touched anything, which I don't know. Some people do that. That turns lots of winners into losers also, but it also sometimes gives you a bigger profit. The second thing you could have done was immediately, if you were quick on the draw, you could have hit the break even button, or the even better, the close button in Ninja. Um, when it got to three, it almost made $300 a profit before it reversed. Right about there, it was 390. It got to 290, I remember. So break even button, close button in particular, could have gotten you out. But keep in mind when trades like that happen, it's 5 seconds. So no matter what you do, sometimes you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You can't do it right sometimes, no matter what you do. So I'm always trying to protect profit so I survive for the next trade. But that one in particular, it's just very interesting because it's common what it did, and the difficulty in the trade is not uncommon, and it's something you have to deal with. Look at the reversal was mind-boggling that day also. Very unusual, abnormal behavior relates to the fact that that trade didn't just blow through my targets. Everything about that natural gas report was bizarre, including the move, and it's proven by what happened in the minutes after the trade. That was a very abnormal, unnatural change of direction. But this is what we love. I mean, I love trying to master these trades. It will take a lifetime to master these trades, and I challenge anyone to master these trades. Um, but it's profitable because there are so many good ones. This is one of the tricky ones. Remember that DMM was 4 out of 6 winners. Most of the winners were just shooting through the targets on natural gas. They were big, beautiful winners, the latest trades, and you can tell that by the amount of ticks in the reports. So it's fascinating. 10 people will trade the same report 10 different ways, and that's what I love about this stuff. The challenge never ends, and it's awesome. I really enjoy it.
Awesome.
I don't remember what my point was anymore, so it's okay.
No, it's okay. No, the point is transparency in my view.
That's what we're
But
saying,
Lee,
right?
I was gonna ask if you could pass control back. I want to share a
Yeah,
couple of slides with
no
folks.
problem.
Now, again, we like to keep things real, and I think showing folks a couple of examples from this week's trade room is a great idea, Lee, in terms of really what we do here, and that's really the where I want to close off in the next few minutes. We gave folks an update on the markets today. I made the point about, look, we're not reinventing how we're trading. We've been doing this for 10 years successfully. We've added a whole bunch of other ways that we could capitalize on market moving events, including the market opens and earnings. But really, I'm not showing my screen. Hold on a second. I'm just not sure if I'm showing the right screen. Okay. Yeah, it is lightning, by the way. Usually it's beautiful, sunny Florida, but we are in the rainy season. Can you see my screen, Lee?
Yeah, it's good.
Trade room?
It's all good.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so look, last month we hit our 10-year milestone, and the trade room is where everything happens. So right now it's a fun environment. We have just myself and Lee, but we're part of a community here that we built. And that screenshot that you're seeing right now, that's our actual pro trade room. We don't use GoToWebinar. We've done the whole gambit, and we finally found a great partner that has a professional trade room platform that's built for educators like ourselves. And you could see it's web-based. In fact, if you have a browser, you're able to come into our chat room on a desktop computer, on your phone. There's actually an app which I don't think a lot of people know that, number one, that you could actually stream our trade room from the app, but also there's other cool things which I'm going to talk about in the next few weeks. But we have a chat room, and I see the same Mark that you're talking about. I see he's also part of this screenshot here. But we have an awesome community, and we do run several hours every single day in the trade room. And really, the magic is in the trade room. That's our hub. That's where, in these markets, imagine you're trading by yourself the last couple of years. I mean, it's really not the best way. You want to be able to leverage what's going on in the markets. And like I said, Lee is, part of being a great leader. It's not always about you taking control of everything, right? It's recognizing your strengths. And one of Lee's strengths is he knows the fundamentals. He knows exactly how the different methodologies that we do. He knows what is the right way. When it comes to executing, especially in live in front of a whole audience, again, not making excuses for him, but man, is that a hard task to do, and he does it very well. So we always measure success it's not about our trading account, okay? It's really about our members' trading accounts. So, and that's the bottom line. Even though if I ask Lee to show me winning trades from the past week, we have them. We have huge winning trades that Lee has done very, very well. But more importantly, it's our members. Now, with our 10-year anniversary, I know that there's quite a couple of trader members already, but I just want to let people know, again, if you're watching the replay, if you're out there on YouTube, how can you join us, right? And so we're going to make it very easy. In the last 2+ years, we've been doing live streams into our trade room on Facebook, and then most recently, mostly on just on YouTube. And we definitely have reached lots of new traders, lots of great people from all over the world. And I'm actually really happy you showed that Australia trade, because a lot of times people say, well, can you, I want to be able to trade, but I'm not able to because of this. We trade around the clock. But we want to do something special because, look, we do run a professional trade room, and our retail price is $297 per month. And you know what? If we claim to be, expert, if we claim to be the absolute best traders, I'm sure there are trade rooms out there that charge $5,000, et cetera. But, we try to keep things as fair as possible. $297, I promise you, that is the price that people off the street pay when they're coming in, and there's no discounts. That's our retail price. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that we celebrate our 10-year anniversary with everybody here today. Again, even if you're a member, I mean, this is a great opportunity to share with a friend. And so here's what we have in store for you, okay? We have an amazing $10 jointhetraderoom.com. In fact, I couldn't even put it, the price is so low that in our new 10-minute trades website, I just was not able to do it. And so we actually said, you know what, let's go old school. We're going back 10 years. We actually, if you go to jointhetraderoom.com, www, make sure you put that in there, jointhetraderoom.com, it'll actually take you to our legacy web page. And no worries, because all you're doing is subscribing for a trade room subscription. And so we'll make sure to add you onto our list and send you our login to our trade room every single week. We have a new password. So $10 for your first month into our trade room, and then it's going to auto renew to $97. No hassles. You can cancel anytime. Just make sure if you want to cancel it, to do it at least a few days before you're coming up to renewal. And look, I know I'm kind of getting into the sales part, but there's no shame. This is $10. We want to show you guys what's going out there. And if you're out there just buying stuff and holding stuff and praying that it's going to continue to go up, that's fine. But make sure you figure out a skill set. And that's the thing. When I'm showing you the stock market and all these various markets, that's not my expertise. I figured out, and so has Lee, a way to be able to capitalize with futures, capitalize on these daily market moving reports. And I feel all the confidence in the world because I know exactly what I'm doing. It's easy to do. And I've been doing it for the last 10 years. It's not like all of a sudden I started to trade crypto a couple of months ago. No, none of that. We've been focused on futures, focused on trading methodology. And what Lee, I know, Lee, you did a presentation yesterday. For our trade room members, the same special that we're doing here is the same special that we're going to honor to our current members, okay? And so when you sign up, and this is, by the way, this is all part of our 10-year anniversary, and Memorial Day is coming up. So number one is, if you continue to be a trade room subscriber, we're going to give you our DMMs as part of that subscription. That's an $800 value per year. In fact, sometimes I'm talking to my friends and neighbors and who I happen to know that are in the financial space, and I just tell them, yep, 10-minute trades. And funny enough, I don't want them to pay a dime. These are some of my close friends, and they subscribe to our daily market movers because they see the value in it. It really doesn't even matter whether you trade our system or not. Having this kind of alert system of knowing these DMMs that are coming out, to be aware that there's FOMC and getting the analysis, very valuable. And so I have, like I said, close friends of mine that will subscribe just for this daily market movers, which we put a lot of time and effort in. So that's an $800 value per year. Then our second bonus is, again, when you subscribe for $10, you're going to get access to a $1,000 trade earnings masterclass, which, again, Lee figured out a really great methodology. He saw that there was an adjustment in the futures markets, and that previously you couldn't trade between the hours of 4:15 and 4:30, and then he figured out that you can. And so through that became a lot of successful earning trades. And I know, Lee, that we had in mind for you to share some of them. Um, 1 second. Sorry, Lee always likes to get me distracted when I'm doing these things, and I'm not as polished as him. No, but Lee, let's keep things simple, okay? I know Lee wants me to share some other stuff, which I have, as part of this rollout of this $10. The time will come up, but right now these are the two bonuses that you'll get for just $10. You'll get the DMMs um, starting immediately, as well as the earnings masterclass. You'll have access to that, and then it'll renew to $97 a month. But here's the thing: our $10 year anniversary, when you when you auto renew to $97, as long as you continue your subscription, you will have lifetime access to our DMMs and access to our trade earning masterclass, as long as you keep your membership active. Okay, Lee? So this deal ends Memorial Day. And again, I didn't want to get into this whole sales mode. I really just wanted to have a conversation about where we are right now with the markets. So www.jointhetraderoom.com. And what happened to Lee? I don't see Lee anymore.
I'm here.
Hang on.
I'm here. I was doing stuff.
Oh, it's okay. I was trying to bring up your screen because I think it's just me now. But no, Lee, I'll let you kind of close off. I know we have such an amazing community here. What's your appeal to folks that are not a member already? Or actually, I know that there are a couple of folks, and that's kind of part of the reason why we're kicking off this campaign too, is our software is coming up soon, and anybody who signs up for this, remember I mentioned that whole beta release where we're going to give you the opportunity before we start to sell it out to the whole world. We'll give you the first opportunity to jump in on our software. What would you say to someone that's on the sidelines, somebody that, maybe they took advantage of our streams over the past couple of months, they come in once a week for a stream, why would you encourage them to finally become a member of our trade room?
I mean, it's to me for $10 I'm not even selling. I mean, if you do the $10, you game our whole system. You gain everything that we do. We're doing market opens in the trade room. We're doing breakout trades, trap trades. For $10, why would you not do it even if you weren't going to stay? It's an unbelievable deal. I don't understand why everyone in the world wouldn't do it that's interested in trading. You learn any technique that we have that we show over the next month, which is 90% of what we're going to do. So I don't even have to sell this. I think when people get this email and open up the offers, they're just going to start doing it because it's a no-brainer. I don't even have to sell
Sure,
it.
sure. So I want to open the door for any questions from our audience today, both on YouTube and as well as on our GoToWebinar. Any questions at all? Because it is a very intimate crowd. It's myself, Lee, and I know it's not like we're presenting in front of a couple hundred people like Lee did yesterday on the webinar that he did with Rightline. Any questions at all? Anything you want to ask Lee, myself about about the software, about the trade room? Again, today's presentation is just wanting to give a quick pulse update on what's going on, because we are trading every single day. We are very aware, but on a daily basis, we see what's going on. But when you take a step back, last week I did the halftime report. I didn't do what I did today. And so who knows, maybe some of you didn't realize when you look at the percentage decrease, the markets are hurting, okay? Markets are going to a downtrend. And look, if you have money invested, for the long run, great. But at this skill set, it's just, it's not, it's something else to think about, right? It's not just about putting money in gold or, putting money in crypto, right? This is learning a specific skill set for trading that whether they're good times or bad times, you're able to get money out of the market, right? And try to do it as safe as possible. And that's it. And then I don't have to worry so much about what's going on right now because I don't. It's just not my methodology. I don't do the long-term investment game where I'm in for a whole bunch, and it's not the way that I roll. Okay, and There are a couple other things I want to share, but I know it's Friday afternoon, Lee. I just today's presentation was all about letting people see the macro side of the world of the markets, how we step in, and how our trade room could be the place where you continue to stay in the know and learn how to not just rely on uh, your whatever investments you have, but being able to take control and do some discretionary trading on your own, appointment-based trading. So join us at www.jointhetraderoom.com. This is Eric Roth again. It's my pleasure. We're not going anywhere. This is the first half of the year. We have a lot of great things for the second half of the year. And just so you know, our loyal trader members, it stinks. We're doing the $10. For those of you who are already paying the monthly subscription, I mentioned you're going to get the bonuses, but there's some other stuff that Lee wanted to mention as well, and I will address that separately. One of them, I'll address it now, which I addressed before, that when we release our software, you guys are going to be the very first ones to get your hands on it as kind of our appreciation of your loyalty. Because the truth is without you guys, we wouldn't be here today. So with that said, Lee, anything you want to say to close off?
No, I just want to say that try not to be afraid to trade even in these types of markets. I totally agree with learning the skill set. And the best thing that I could do is to help is to see everybody where in the trade room. So I'd like to sign off for myself by saying I'll see you next week in the trade room.
Perfect. Well, listen, guys, I know we're over an hour. It's been fun. I love doing these unscripted and sometimes not as polished, but that's the beauty of unscripted, right? And I liked where we went in today's conversation. We kept things real. We talked about what we do here, and we invite you to join us for $10. Come join us. We have so many great reports coming out. Eric saying goodbye, and we'll have a lot of other stuff we're going to send you this weekend. So get ready for the recap, a trade of the week, the weekly schedule, the whole works. All right, Lee, thank you so much, and wishing everyone a wonderful weekend, and we hope to see you in the trade room with us next week. Thanks, everyone.